Hi, I'm your host, Troy Clark with Drink Boss, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bottle, where we look inside, beyond the liquid, at owners and operators in our community and seeing the difference that they're making and learning their stories. Today, we're here at the Black Rose in Boston, Massachusetts. Well, if you haven't guessed yet, we're talking about St. Patrick's Day, one of the most iconic holidays in our city. And I'm joined with some of the most prominent Irish owners and bars and restaurants here in Boston. So let's get started, should we? We have Oren McGonigal joining us from the East Coast Tavern Group.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
I have Hannah Hook joining us from the Breyer Group, our marketing director. And to the right, I have Paul Wilson here with the Glynn Group. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm excited to bring everyone here together to talk about St. Patrick's Day, but before we kind of get into that a little bit, I'd love for you guys to tell us a little bit about your group, how you got started, and a little bit about everything here in Boston. So Oren, do you want to take us through your group a little bit and your story?
Yeah, absolutely. I joined the East Coast Tavern Group 12 years ago now, back when Emmett's Pub on Beacon Hill was our only location. Since then, we've moved on to Scholars, Carrie Nation, Sunset Cantina in Brookline, and then Roxanne's now on Beacon Hill as well. Just been going strength to strength since then. It's an Irish-based company, Irish owners, and we try and be a very classic Irish bar up in Beacon Hill. We're very traditional in what we do, food and drink-wise. That's pretty much where we went. We've been growing ever since. Obviously, this year's been a bit of a setback, but
yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you get started in this?
In the industry?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, right down the street there, I was a dishwasher in the aquarium. That was my first ever job in America, and I ended up meeting the guys from East Coast Tavern Group, and they brought me into the bar business then. I did bartend at home for a while and started off bartending and worked my way up now to the director of the company, so it's been a good experience. America's been good to me.
That's awesome. And Hannah, let's talk a little bit about your story and the group that you're running.
Sure. I am not from Ireland, as you can tell. I am a Polish girl from Buffalo, New York, and I got my start in the industry about 20 years ago. I was a buffet girl at Ponderosa Steakhouse. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh, the salad bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
I smelled like ham cubes when I left there, but I was scooping, ranch dressing and eggs in a bag, and I worked my way up. I went to college in South Florida. I decided to, go to university at the spring break capital of the world, Fort Lauderdale. I was a bartender on the beach there, making lots of pina coladas, strawberry daiquiris, came to Boston, went to graduate school at Northeastern, studied marketing. I worked my way through grad school bartending, serving. I was a bartender for 6 years at an Italian restaurant in Boston called Teatro, Columbus Hospitality Group. I got to give a shout out to them, love them. And I've been with the Breyer Group for 10 years for the past decade. So we own a variety of Irish pubs and contemporary restaurants and bars. We also own a large country music bar right by Gillette, Patriot Place. And I do all the marketing. So lots of social media, lots of taking pictures on St. Patrick's Day, lots of, talking about Jamison and these great whiskeys all the time on email and social and in the restaurants. So very happy to be here today.
Awesome, so great. And Paul, let's hear about your group and then your story.
How long have we got here, I think?
How long have we got? I came to Boston in 1987 on a Morrison visa. J1 visa, later to get a Morrison visa. But I started work at a restaurant in Faneuil Hall called the Marketplace Cafe, and from there went on to work at my first Glynn establishment, which was the Purple Shamrock. Here's to the Purple Shamrock. On Union Street. Went from there to Chadwick Park on High Street. Eventually ended up in the Black Rose. And so over the last 33 and a half years, I've worked my way up. I've been the Director of Operations for Glynn Hospitality for about the last 10 years. We now have 8 locations within the city. The Black Rose, which is celebrating its 45th year this year. We have the Granary Tavern over on the Greenway, Sterling's on State Street. We have 3 in the Back Bay, Cleary's, Dillon's in Brownstone, Coogan's over on Milk Street, and we did have one or two on Canal Street, but the pandemic has kind of put an end to them. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the pandemic's been rough, I think, for everybody, and we'll talk a little bit about how that's affected.
It's been a different year, all right.
But we're talking about St. Patrick's today, and I think that this is kind of a little controversial. I'll talk a little bit about the first parade happening in Boston, going back to 1724. That can be a little bit controversial if you're talking to people from New York or Boston, Chicago, and stuff like that. And it was really a gathering of people to celebrate their homeland, coming together, creating that ethnic community. And then you talk about 1776. We have the celebration of Evacuation Day and also St. Patrick's Day. So this holiday has really been a celebration of religion and also military presence. And then the first parade being back in 1901 in South Boston. And then we come all the way to where we are today. What is St. Patrick's Day for all of you, right? So we'll start with you, Paul. What has St. Patrick's been behind your group in our city, and what does it mean to all of your team members?
I guess St. Patrick's Day it's changed over the years. 30 years ago, it was very food oriented, where people kind of came out. It was the end, winter was over, it was beginning of spring and summer was coming, but it was that sort of chance to go and, show your Irishness. It was the corned beef and cabbage days. It was families would come out. There was always live entertainment. But throughout the years, it's become more of it's one of those days where, you're proud to be Irish, you're proud to be a Bostonian. But I think it's the entertainment, and it's just, we got through winter, fun. There's just good entertainment, and what I take away from it, when it's a long day to work, but at the end of the day, it's the smiling faces walking out the door, and you did what we do best. We did what we do best, is that you gave people an experience. They had a blast, whether it was entertainment, whether it was, they tried something different, whether it be another Irish whiskey, whether it be a Guinness, whether it be a Harp, whether it be another Irish product. But it was a chance for us to show our Irishness and let people know that, it's all about fun at the end of the day. Enjoy the experience, go out. Some people celebrate, go over the top a little bit, but, it's one day of the year, you can do it.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, fun, right? Hospitality. What about you, Hannah? What do you take from St. Patrick's Day?
Oh, St. Patrick's Day, you wake up on March 17th and just the air, it feels different. It's just the whole city feels different. It's like Christmas, right? You wake up and it's just, you get out of bed and it's just something about it. The air is electric, and the whole city is just so excited to be out. Usually the weather is nicer. Paul hit it on the head. It's, the coming of spring, the break of winter, and you just go and have fun, and there's just so much good energy. People love, Guinness, whiskey, the food, the music, everything about it. And, for us, for the Briar Group, a lot of it is our family heritage. We were started by an Irish family, so really recognizing that and celebrating that and being with the people that you love and really just having a great time.
I think you hit on something really important there. It's really, St. Patrick's has always been to me, it's really the celebration of family. It's a celebration of, beyond just being Irish, but really it's just fun, getting together the people you love, that you want to be closest to, meeting new people, and just celebrating life, right? And I think that, I think you hit that on the head, and I think that's what people come out in just thousands that day to just let it all loose and have fun. What about you, Oren?
I guess originally for me, where we're from, it would have been a religious based on it. Like in Ireland, it would have been a religious holiday. It's also in the middle of Lent for Irish people, and the joke is that we had to get St. Patrick's Day in the middle of Lent because there's no way we were going to do 40 days without any booze or sweets or anything like that. So when I was young, I remember it being a day where you were allowed to eat anything again because you were doing no sweets for Lent. But as I grew older then, moved to America, obviously, it started off it was crazy. It was green beer and all this here, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? But then the more I kind of got into it, and we've obviously worked them, is the more I've realized to kind of embrace it and think, right, this is a day where the whole world is celebrating Ireland, like a little country in the Atlantic, where it's just a very cool thing when you're from there and you can see the green and see everybody out celebrating their Irish heritage. And for that now, it's turned into as you say, that day you wake up and you're thinking, this is our Super Bowl Sunday here now for bars. This is it for us. Like, we have to, if you're an Irish bar, this is our day. I've seen a lot of visitors in town. They're all coming in. They want the Irish atmosphere. They want to be listening to great music from Irish musicians. Just the whole atmosphere you can feel in the bar right now. That's what they're looking for, and there's only so many bars in the city that can offer that. We're definitely one of them bars, as you can tell right now at the moment. Good food, good drinks, banging out the Jamison Black Label as well, the barrel that they've done for the bartenders. It's just been a great week so far to celebrate St. Patrick's. Where we show everything we do, all our heritage, all the food that we make, all the staff that we have, show them all out, put them all out there and really show off our brands and who we are.
That's awesome. You know, you hit on something green there, and I think it's always good to talk about where does this green come from. And we were joking earlier before, and I said that there's kind of like a hoax out there that people say you got to wear green to stay hidden from the leprechauns. But really, I think the other point is really that it came from the sign of nationalism and the clover. And wearing that was something of pride that people wanted to continue to do. But boy, did we take it to a whole nother level here, as you're talking about with the green beer. And
America definitely lifted it. Like, it's,
go big or go home, right?
It is. It's like, if you want it to be bigger and better, it's America's the way to do it. That's always been the way.
So let's dive a little deeper, because I know that you hit on the pandemic, and this has been a really challenging year for everyone, or year and a half now, right? And we're coming around St. Patrick's Day again, and we know that last year this time is when everything basically shut down, right? So, you know, what was St. Patrick's Day prior to the pandemic, and what's it going to look like now, you know? So, you know, what was it for you in your group prior to, and what is it going to look like this year?
Busy.
Busy, yeah.
Busy. It's going to look very, very different, you know? I mean, safety has always been a concern for us, but now more than ever. I mean, you know, there's the 90-minute limit at tables. You have to be sitting at a table. You know, you're not going to be able to congregate with bigger groups like you have in the past, where you can meet people all over the bar. So, you know, I think that fun element will still be there. I think that excitement will still be there, especially coming on a year that we're now getting through this. But it is going to look different. But I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. I have hope.
Well, for everyone listening, don't be impatient and leave after 90 minutes. Okay, so she's telling you.
Don't get in. Don't form a line anywhere. That's another thing. If you can't get in, you know, try coming back. Yeah.
What about for you, Paul? What's it been like in the past for you guys, and what's going to be different this year?
My lasting memory of St. Patrick's Day is probably about 20 years ago, when we used to open with a breakfast every morning at 6 a.m. And the band that played for the first 5 years was the Dropkick Murphys. And we would close here at 2 a.m. the night before, and guys would walk out that front door and they'd get in line. And they'd wait until 6 a.m. when we opened again. And in the end we had to stop it, because back then the Black Rose held about 400 people, and the line would stretch from here to the north end, people trying to get in. We couldn't serve until 8. We opened the doors at 6, and we could serve breakfast at 6 o'clock. We couldn't serve any alcohol until 8 a.m. But for those 5 years, I will never forget it. And we had to stop it with the Dropkicks. We brought in a band from New York called Black 47, who did it for about the next 5 years or so. And it just became as popular. But it was one of those days where you started at 6 a.m. and you finished up at 3 a.m. the next day. So it was a 21-hour day. I mean, it's long. It's, you know, you were tired obviously at the end of it, but you know what? It was a lot of fun.
All I can think about is that scene from Cocktails with Tom Cruise at the end of his first shift there, wringing out his socks, and the sweat just coming out of the water.
We were fortunate that we could flip the staff a couple of times, obviously throughout the day, and kept it going. But it's, you know, it goes back to, it's fun, and that's sort of thing I think I'll miss most about it. Is right now, as Hannah said, we're stuck with the 90 minutes, and you know what? The rules are there for a reason. I think we have to go along with what rules we've been given. We're fortunate this year we can actually be open. Last year it was March 13th. I walked in here in the morning and there was a couple having breakfast, and they were the last people we served for 102 days, because we shut down that day and didn't open again until June. We opened outside our outdoor patio. But But that was 102 days where there wasn't a sinner inside this building. And that time we had stocked up for St. Patrick's Day. And the basement here holds a lot of beer and booze and Irish whiskey for that week. And whiskey won't go off, it sort of matures. But we had to carry up over 200 barrels of beer from that basement up here to get returned. And I never want to do that again. So you can do it.
It was horrible.
It's not pretty, but it's,
Yeah.
at least this year we're fortunate. And, you thank everybody for, nobody saw this coming, nobody planned it. But we've got this far. And the only thing I would ask is that we have rules that we have to follow, and that everybody has been given the opportunity to spend 90 minutes on St. Patrick's Day at the Black Rose or one of your venues, that spend your 90 minutes and then give somebody else that opportunity.
Yeah.
Try and spread it around so everybody gets an opportunity to go out on St. Patrick's Day. We'd all like you to stay longer. I'm sure you would like to stay longer too. But these are the rules we're under. And if we continue to do this, hopefully by 2022, we'll be back to some kind of normalcy.
Yeah, I think that's a great message, and I think if we can just get everyone to get a little bit
Sure.
of enjoyment, because last year everyone missed it,
Yep.
right? So I think that would
Yep.
be fun. Oren, what about you? What's your kind of...
Chaotic is the
Chaotic,
word for
yeah.
it. Where we are, we have 4 bars on the one street. They're all basically the only bars on that street. Beacon Hill going on the School Street. So my job on them days would be just bouncing around them bars. But all you would see is just people outside, and they're only going to our location, so it's just like, it's chaos, but it's a good chaos. Like, it really is a good chaos, because at the end of that night then, and it's something that I always done, I would always go to the most random bar ever on St. Patrick's night, where it could have been the most American bar where there's going to be nobody. I don't want to see green, I don't want to hear the music, I want to sit in a dark corner by myself, because all day you're just talking to people, listening to music. There's whiskeys, there's beers going, there's everything going. So that, at the end of the night, it was always a thing for me to go away some random little bar and just sit in the corner and have a nice whiskey to myself, toast St. Patrick, and then the next day you couldn't walk. That was basically it. It was chaos, but it was good chaos.
Yeah.
And
We've all been there.
I'm saying that, I would love to have that back right now. I'm sure we all would.
I'm sure, yeah, there's a little bit sense of normalcy, right?
Yeah.
But the exciting is the energy's moving. We're moving in the right direction. We're, getting things open. We're getting to celebrate this year. And you talk about toasting in whiskey. I think that's a great segue to talk about how whiskey really got to be such a big, prominent player. You hit on it. There's obviously big beer drinking day too, but beer and whiskey is just this combination that comes together. Lots of distilleries in Ireland. Ireland goes through lots of different struggles through the years. Distilleries are closing. There's still a lot of illegal, illicit whiskey being produced, but only 4 legal distilleries producing Irish whiskey. In the 80s, 1980s, and stuff like that, and then we start to see this amazing liquid that's so soft and so easy to drink start to get into the hands of consumers again, right? Because we could be here all day to talk about the history of why Irish whiskey was kept back and then brought back, really, really awesome. That for almost 15 years in a row, the #1 growing category of spirits is Irish whiskey, right? What role does whiskey play in your bars? Like, what are you seeing with these fabulous products like Jamison and Redbreast and Powers and the innovation that's coming out? How does that affect your business?
I think people want to experiment, and people are becoming elevated in their drinking habits, right? We've spent a lot of time at home. We've had a lot of time to experiment with our own ingredients and making our own cocktails and making strong cocktails.
That's a fear.
Hold all the mixers,
Fear
just pour
is-
the whiskey.
When people come back into the bars now, they're going to be like, there's nothing in that. And we're like, no,
Yeah.
you've just been serving yourself for the last year. This is how it should taste.
So, at Solus, for example, our Irish pub over on Boylston Street, right near the Boston Marathon finish line, they were doing St. Patrick's Day kits. So, speaking of how St. Patrick's Day is going to look different, some people aren't comfortable yet going out to restaurants and bars, and so we've done these kits that give them an opportunity to celebrate at home. So with those, we've included a Jamison Cocktail, and it's a Jamison smash. It has a lemon peel, simple syrup, some fresh mint, some fresh lemon, and it comes in a nice to-go container. They can pour themselves a cocktail, get, their corned beef and cabbage, and celebrate at home. So that's just, one way. We're doing a lot of kind of whiskey of the week. One of the positive things about the pandemic is these QR codes, and these QR code menus. And you guys will know, once you print a menu, it's like, all right, that's your menu for the year. But now it's like, oh, it's not printed anymore. We can start making changes. We can really highlight these different whiskeys and these different products on our menu and change it really often so people can really become aware of them. So it's a couple ways. We serve the best Irish coffee in the city.
I heard that argument before we started, that we have the three best Irish coffee in all of Boston sitting right here, right?
Yes, right over at Ned Devine's, right up the street. We have the igloos, which is also just, outdoor igloos have blown up, and so there's nothing better than sitting outside on a 30-degree night, sipping your Jamison Irish coffee at Ned Devine's.
Well, it's funny, innovation, in times of struggle, innovation has always helped us, and I think it's in our industry, in the restaurant industry, it's how we continue to grow, right? Through innovation and bring people back and doing all these things. It's challenged us to make better drinks. It's challenged us to be more creative.
Yep.
Who would have thought? Would we have all been open-minded to do QR code menus, right? Like, not going to happen. Or, we talked about a little, or and I know you said that you're doing some to-go cocktails, right? And you also just mentioned there. And, would we really have been able to get legislation to push that forward, to be able to do that in this city? But bringing that experience to people in their homes, what are your thoughts on something like that?
The kit thing has been amazing. It's been really interactive for people to do it at home, and we've been able to put up Instagram videos of how to make a cocktail with our kits. People come in and buy them, bring them home, watch the video over and over again. So that's been a good thing. The QR thing's been a good thing. Randomly for me, in one of my bars, is the tables at the bar has been a huge hit for us, which is something I never would have thought of, but it's created this whole different social thing at the bar, where when you come in now with 2 or 3 of your friends, you're sitting at a table instead of sitting at a line, and it's creating a lot more conversation. So that's something that I'm going to look at going forward. Will this be something I keep now? Because it simply is, it's working for us. So not for every bar, for Emmett's up the street there, it doesn't work because it's a tighter little bar. So things like that. QR code obviously has been a hit. It's been really good for us in a sense where I can put up a daily special with a visual instead of actually having the text. If someone does our QR code, they see the cocktail. That's been something for us that have worked well. We've done a 3D photo. You can actually have a look at the cocktail, which is, especially I think for female customers, that's been a huge hit for us. There is definitely some good things that come from it. Absolutely, there's been some great things and obviously some really bad things that came from it too. The bad still outweighs the good now, I'm going to say that definitely. So, but we'll just take a hit on that #1 Irish coffee. Emmett's Irish Pub is that's official, by the way.
Well, Paul, you were talking earlier when we were talking about innovation and talking about doing some different things, and you were mentioning about pre-recording and how do we get around live entertainment, because that's such an important part of this holiday also, is that live entertainment piece. So you're doing something a little bit creative.
It's an important thing at the Black Rose. The Black Rose for 45 years, 44. We can't count last year. We had entertainment here 7 nights a week for 364 days of the year. The only night we never had entertainment was on Christmas Eve. And the other night before that was the night of 9/11. Every other day there's been entertainment on the stage at the Black Rose. So it's a huge part of what we are and what we've been in Boston. And not being able to do it has really affected our business. But this year what we were trying to do is we recorded a band that plays here regularly, Devery. A 90-hour concert that we will show all throughout the day on St. Patrick's Day.
90 minutes?
90 minutes. Well, it feels like 90 hours. It'll be a 90-minute concert that we'll play throughout the day on St. Patrick's Day, just to try and give somebody a little bit of a memory of what we can do, how we can do it, and also something to look forward to, that live music will be back eventually. People have got to, it's not gone away yet. We're going generally in the right direction. But it was the only way we could figure out what do we do on St. Patrick's Day that will have some kind of normalcy to it. So the concert lasts 90 minutes. Everyone can stay for 90 minutes. They please move along. We have another, or more people that have made a reservation can come in after that. So it's 8 2-hour slots that we've reserved. You can reserve on Open Table for the Black Rose for St. Patrick's Day. But everybody gets to experience it throughout the day. And, we will have the #1 Irish coffee available that day. When they're done with theirs, they're more than welcome to go to Ned Devine's or to Emmett's.
I will back
try
something up
theirs.
there with Paul. Now, when it comes to live music in the city, this is the place that we would send everybody. Like, it's got that name. It's just anybody, any of my family ever comes to America, and they might be going out on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, the off nights, you would call them. You would come here because there's always going to be live music.
But you always make sure that they have an Irish coffee with you first before they come here,
They
right?
have their fill with us. We send them down here then, but it's the live music thing. This is the place where, it's a mecca for live music, for Irish music around the city, like definitely. So I'll give him his pluses there big time.
I'll take whatever I can.
Yeah.
But just to echo that, I mean, I think it's what this whole. There's a lot of Irish bars in Boston, and we all try and support each other.
Big time.
We all can't be everything to everybody.
Yeah.
We all have something that, they can go to Ned Devine's and experience a different experience, or Sullus, or Emmett's, that we can, they can try it. There's Mr. Dooley's on Broad Street.
Yeah.
There's plenty more in the city. But we all try to help each other out.
Yep.
If we don't have room for somebody, we'll call them up and say, hey, we got a group, can you fit them in?
Yeah.
Or what have you got going on tonight? We can't have them 7 nights a week. They may try and experience something else during the week.
Well, I think that's
there's
just
enough Irish in
hospitality,
Boston.
right? I mean, that's just about hospitality, and our city being
Yeah.
really close,
Yeah.
and I think that that's really important. What are some dishes that people should look to see or try that they haven't tried that they should be trying on St. Patrick's Day? Are there things that you only run on that day that they wouldn't get, or are things they should explore for?
We try and do a little bit of everything on the menu. There's obviously an Irish twist to some of it, but I mean, you hear so much about corned beef and cabbage. Growing up in Ireland, nobody had corned beef and cabbage. Corned beef was an immigrant's thing out of New York. Is where we had bacon and cabbage, where it's a different cut of ham. It's cured differently. It's delicious, but they don't make it in the States. And the closest thing they could get was going to their Jewish friends in New York, getting corned beef. And that's where the whole corned beef thing came out of. It's something that we have on the menu. We don't have it on all the time. We do it regularly, but on the St. Patrick's Day week, or even the month of March, it's something we feature quite a lot. There's other cuts of it. We get it from a great local company, Boston Brisket Company, and they make the rare version for us. We cook it off, hundreds and thousands of pounds of it over the month of March.
Damn New Yorkers always trying to get into this
I
city,
know they do. But it's one of those things. But you do have Irish classics on there too. There's a shepherd's pie, there's a beef stew. With our wings, there's so many versions of buffalo wings throughout the city. We actually make a glaze out of Jamison whiskey that we put over our wings. It does that, but it runs the gamut. I mean, there's Irish smoked salmon. We bake brown soda bread off daily. So there's plenty of choice within the restaurant, but there's our Irish favorites too.
Yeah. Anything you guys think we should hit on that people should try?
Corned beef and cabbage egg rolls.
Ooh.
Make them by hand. They are incredibly popular. They are very, very good.
I'm looking for the TikTok video of you making them by hand, so we'll be seeing that next, right?
Yes, definitely. No, I mean, we kind of have the Americanized version of St. Patrick's Day, so it's a lot of different spins on things. We do, soft pretzels with a Guinness mustard, corned beef and cabbage, of course, shepherd's pie, of course, but it's corned beef and cabbage is clearly the most popular.
So for all our listeners out there, we gotta give them some good stuff here. So I would love for you guys to tell us your favorite story revolving maybe Redbreast or Jamison on St. Paddy's Day. So Paul, we're gonna start with you. We're gonna put you on the spot first. And remember, if it involves alcohol, sometimes it can be a little foggy, so, it's okay.
This is not a St. Patrick's Day story, but it's a Black Rose story. There was one Saturday afternoon, there was a guy sitting over here behind me at the corner of the bar. And, you see a lot of faces come through the Black Rose, and you're trying to think, you're looking at that guy, and where do you know him from, whatever. But he was sitting there minding his own business, and there's a couple of people sort of pointing to the corner. And it was John Denver sitting over the corner of the Black Rose. And he was just sitting back. He was just flicking through a newspaper. He was drinking a couple of pints, and I'm sure there was a little whiskey involved at some stage too. But the band that were playing at the time obviously recognized John. And they went over and they said, like, I've been a fan for many years. Would you come up on stage and sing a couple of songs? And it's just one of those things. He said, you know what? He said, I'll finish this beer, but before I go, I promise you I'll get up and sing a couple of songs. Well, he got up on stage and he sang about 3 songs. And I remember he's singing Annie's song, and just the hairs in the back of your neck just stood up when you see the guy that's sitting at the corner of the bar, gets up, sings a couple of songs on stage, and thunderous applause. And he just got off the stage, walked out the door. And the sad part about it is he was killed in a plane crash 2 days later. Oh, wow. It was a plane he built himself in Colorado, I believe, and did it. But it was just one of those things when you heard the story, and just now I can feel it in the back of my neck too. It's just those stories that, it's people never take things for granted. Yeah. Enjoy that last minute, because you never know what's going to happen when you walk out that door or any other door. But, appreciate it. Yeah. And it's just one of those things that I'll never forget it. To me, that's one of those Black Rose memories.
It's kind of what our industry is built around, right? Yeah. Is that live life to the fullest. That's what St. Patrick's Day is about, is to celebrate, live in the moment, and live each day to its fullest extent. Yeah. So that's a great story, Paul. What about you, Aaron?
I guess something that came to mind straight away was my mum and dad are pioneers. So there's no alcohol in our house except for mine. Which is random. 2 of my siblings are in the bar business as well, so we've obviously went a bit further with it. But in an Irish home, there was always a bottle of whiskey in the press in case visitors came. That was just the thing. There was no bottle of beer. It was, there's a whiskey, you'll have a whiskey. So there was always a bottle of Jamison in the cupboard. But I remember one night, me and my 2 brothers were coming home from a night out. We were pretty drunk when we got into the house, so we decided to go at the bottle of Jamison. Decided to get some ice out. So at the time, my dad had just had his knee replaced, and he had ice packs for his knee. So us boys being drunk, this is 100% true story, by the way. We decided to get some ice, mistakenly taking my dad's knee pack, taking the ice out of it, putting it in our Jamisons. The next morning, my dad got up, and we came down. Obviously, we were hung overhead, and he's like, "What did you do with my knee pack?" And we were like, "Your knee pack? What are you talking about?" And we were like, and I looked at my brother and I went, "Did we drink Jamison on ice with his sweaty knee pack?" So that's been a story in our family for years now. When we came back one night and drank basically beautiful Jamison with my dad's sweaty knee ice that he had at the time.
Or you're ahead of your time, because they're talking about salt in cocktails now, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah. At the time there was nothing wrong with it. Trust me, it was amazing. It was amazing. But yeah, so my dad, 2 of them are pioneers, so that's the kind of stories we got at home. And anything with alcohol in our house was different because our mum and dad didn't drink, so everything was a new story for them. And the next morning, they of course remembered everything. Well, we didn't remember anything. But lots of good times with Jamisons through the brands, through the years, like going up to now, where me and my brothers have a thing. When we meet now, we'd always buy a Middleton 25 every time. It's something we do now as a group of 4 brothers. We always have a Middleton, and we swap them back and forth, the Barry Crockett's, the different things. We'd be sharing bottles with each other and different experiences with it. So it's a big part of our life now, actually, like tasting in whiskies and trying different whiskies and having conversations on our WhatsApp group about things that we've tried. So all good stuff.
Such a unique category too for Irish, having that pure pot still, the unmalted and malted barley. For people that have never experienced it, it's just magical. Yeah. I see you got the 21 year. I said that's probably the greatest whiskey I've ever been able to experience for me personally.
I was fortunate enough about 2 weeks ago to taste the 27, and it's worth waiting for.
Yeah, well,
it's so. If you can describe sort of butter just sort of sitting in your mouth, and just the taste that come off it, it's just unbelievable. It's, you see all the kids coming out and they're drinking Jameson and ginger, and it's good to see they're getting into whiskey. They're getting away from, we all went through the flavored vodka stage and that stuff where there was cotton candy flavor and pink this flavor and that flavor. Well, now they're going to tasting what a true spirit can taste like, and it's the history that goes into it, and the care that goes into producing a bottle of whiskey. But when you get something with that age, whether it's the Redbreasts or you say the Middletons, even the Red Spots of the world, it's just they're sipping drinks and the French went on about cognacs and the Scotch have their Scotch, but to me, an Irish whiskey just in a glass with maybe just a dash of water just to open it up. There's nothing better at the end of the day.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. We're on this flavor explosion, right? So, you know, in culinary 20 years ago, you see it with the kitchens and food and everything like that, and it's really just progressed. Well, now we're seeing that with people with whiskey and booze and cocktails. It's just on this whole new journey. And as a result of that, people are drinking better stuff. A little bit less of it, but better. And you know, like this is a perfect example of something that when you try it unadulterated in any sense, just trying it neat, but adding water to it isn't a bad thing, right? I think people have this misconception, and you know, there's these people that say, "Oh, you ruined it by adding water or putting it on ice or whatever."
It's literally a drop. Just
Yeah, but it's had water its whole life, the whole way. You know, when it's germinating, you're adding water to it. In the mash tun, you're adding water to it. The whole step, the whole process has water. So you know, however you like to enjoy it. Enjoy it, because that's the celebration, right? That's the celebration of it, right?
That's the one thing about alcohol. Lots of people drink it different ways. So
yeah.
Everyone should have their own way, and if you like it, that's up to you.
Exactly.
Something that, like, for us in Emmett's and Roxanne's is a little cocktail bar next door. We've seen a lot more females drinking whiskey. So it's like whiskey cocktails now are becoming way more on our menu, where it's like so open and diverse to what they're drinking. Lots of 12-year-old redbreasts on the cocktail menu, which when I first started, that wouldn't have been a thing at all. You just wouldn't have used that liquid on the cocktails. Yep. So something we've a plan for St. Patrick's Day is a woman who whiskey, basically an event where we're going to create a menu basically to open up our cocktails to more female drinking and more different types of, you know, the styles of Jamison and Middletons and the redbreasts and green spots and yellow spots, things like that there. So we'll be doing that, and something in Emmett's then would be we started doing a lot of flights lately where we've had to like really expand what whiskies we had on the shelves, going from like your really high end, like I have the 27-year-old, which I've hid away in the back office, which no one's allowed to touch. But we have different years there where we're doing a lot of flights now, but a lot of people are going to the higher tier flights, which 10 years ago that wouldn't have been the case as well. It would have been maybe your Jameson and your Jameson 12-year-old or something like that there, but now it's gone to your Middleton flight where they're trying 3 different types of Middleton, and it's going into your $100 mark. So it's a lot of like evolution going through the whiskies in the last 10 years for me that I've seen now, where people are really trying to experiment with it and they're drinking it properly, and they're not so much as the shots and the beer thing. It's turning into now have a drink, enjoy it, relax, take your time with it, make a nice cocktail from it.
Yeah,
it's like a quality rather than quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we've gotten to that point where there's such good. You hate even using the word juice when it comes to whiskey, but there's such good products out there. And even with Jameson have gone along with their barrel series, where there was the stout one, there was the IPA barrels.
Yeah, and they're partnering with local beer companies
they
to
have
do it.
Castle Island this year, where they reversed it. They brewed their Castle Island IPA in the Jameson barrels. It's wonderful. It's a great beer. Yeah. And you can just taste at the end of it that there's a slight hint of whiskey just at the end of that IPA, which makes it totally different. But it's great to see, you know, people are working in different ways that have never have worked in the past and experimenting with it. Talking about experimenting, I see the back at the bar there has
we
the
have some
world's best Irish coffee.
The world's best
sitting-
Irish coffee.
sitting there.
So we're gonna have those Irish coffees come out.
Boston's best Irish coffee.
Yeah.
He's called the world.
Well, you know, it's funny, if we talk about coffee, we talk about the Irish coffee, we talk about innovation,
Right.
Jameson coming out with that cold brew. And you know, what I think a lot of people don't recognize is that in Boston, we are one of the largest coffee consumers per capita across the United States. And it just seems fitting that an Irish whiskey with a cocktail named after it, you know, the Irish coffee, has now an opportunity to get cold brew put into it. Now, this is made with just traditional Jameson here?
Yes, it is, yeah.
All right. I cannot wait. You want to tell us how you guys are making it?
Well, this one it has a cube of Demerara sugar. Then it gets an ounce and a half of Jameson, followed by about 2 ounces or 2.5 ounces of coffee, fresh brewed coffee.
Are we drinking this?
Yeah, we are.
And then we have a little whipped cream on top. Not too whipped, it's shaken. So
Shaken.
It is
Cheers,
beautiful and Instagrammable. I will give that to you,
Yeah.
Paul.
The classic glass is a big thing for us as well, where the last maybe 5 years it's come back into use a lot more.
But what we're doing this year is we've actually made up kits with our glasses. So you'll be able to get 2 These ones are Jamison, obviously, logo glasses that we were nice enough to get from Jamison. But we have some Black Rose logoed ones coming in. And you'll buy a kit that will have the sugar, it'll have the coffee, it'll have a couple of glasses. There's a shaker in there to shake the cream. Nutmeg grater, all that stuff within the glass or the box. You can take it home, you can make your own at home. Unfortunately, we can't ship the whiskey. When we ship the boxes out, you can buy your own whiskey, and we don't include the cream. By the time you get it, it may be gone a little off. So just add the whiskey and the cream. You can make your own Irish coffee at home.
I think that's good. I think it's important for people to understand how to make a proper one. This is not ready whip here, folks. This is not sweetened cream. It's unsweetened cream that gets layered. And for everyone
no Irish
at home,
cream in it either. That's a big thing. A lot of Irish coffees in America are have Baileys in them, and it's something that we've been pretty much like.
You're supposed to taste the whiskey.
Right.
It's not supposed to be a coffee drink with a drop of whiskey in it.
Right.
It's an Irish coffee. It's Jamison coffee. Just there's a bit of coffee in there to support the cream. That's what it's there for.
And the Demerara sugar just kind of adds that more depth to the cocktail, which is really nice. And then layering that on. So when you shake that cream just on the back of a bar spoon and pouring it right over, and it layers really, really nicely. And you can see it doesn't mix in. It just sits there. Really, really well done. This is absolutely delicious. I know we have some food coming out pretty soon. So
it's good.
It's very good. It's very good.
Yeah.
If it's done right, it tastes amazing. Now, if it's done wrong, it doesn't taste good at all.
This is the #1 Irish coffee in Boston, you said, right?
Boston, the world will take whatever.
Whatever
you want to throw at us,
I'll take Beacon Hill then.
You can have Beacon Hill best. There we go.
The only Irish pub on Beacon, I will take it.
So, Hannah, before I didn't want to skip over, do you have a nice story you want to share with us?
You're going to make me follow up with those two stories.
Well, I don't know if you can compete with your dad's knee ice and whiskey, right?
I mean, an interesting part of my job is I'm, a lot of the times I'm documenting St. Patrick's Day, right? So I'm traveling to every single one of our pubs and, taking pictures and using it for our Facebook, our social media, and inevitably there's always that group who come and get a Jamison with us, and then the pictures inevitably end up blurrier and blurrier as the day goes on. Hope I don't get in trouble for saying that, but
it's all good.
It's okay. Everybody's only listening.
Research.
Yes, market research. You have to try the product if you know what you're marketing. No, but I think one of the most memorable St. Patrick's Day was the time it was on a Saturday. What was that, 4 or 5 years ago? 6 years ago? 7 years ago? Well, the only one I've been a part of in Boston. I know you've had a couple under your belt, but the Saturday St. Patrick's Day is always just
different level,
turned up just a little notch. So
nothing like knowing that there's no end in sight and you have Sunday to recover. And maybe even Monday morning before you have to go back to work.
The thing about the Saturday one is you get it on Sunday again. It's a 2-day one.
It's nearly become a week-long event, though. You get it the weekend before. Yeah. If it falls midweek, you get it the weekend before. You get it in the middle of the week, and then the parade's usually the following week. So it comes up another week. So it's now become the St. Patrick's Week Festival. So
yes,
that's okay. We'll take it.
We'll take the month, actually. That's what I'm doing.
March,
Excellent.
Irish Heritage Month.
Yeah. Billy, do we want to... Are we keep going? Are we good?
You just sign off and do a toast with everybody. That's
Thank
okay. Everybody.
Yeah.
Thank
excellent.
Billy.
Okay.
Jamison facing
Thanks,
out.
Christine, for
Jamison facing out, right? So we'll have that.
Oh, do you have my far behind you?
Okay, so I want to, thank you guys all. I want to thank you guys for joining us today, and to all our listeners. We appreciate you for tuning in to another episode of Beyond the Bottle. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you guys. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
And we'll see you on
Best of luck on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
you too.
Best of luck. And we'll see you on the next episode of Beyond the Bottle. Cheers.